Hey friend, welcome to Healthy by Heather Brown. Do terms like mental health, intermittent fasting, and buzzy wellness words make you feel overwhelmed? If you don't know where to start with loving the life you already have and letting your good things grow until they become daily habits, I got you, mama. So join me as we unpack what it looks like to live a life well loved and redefine a new approach to health from the inside out. Think of this space as your girlfriend's group text with the occasional dad joke and point of view from my Yankee hubby, Eric. We promise to give you key takeaways that you can implement right away to pursue health in your mind, body, and soul because God made us that way. Don't stress. Let's hop on this Hot Mess Express together. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Healthy by Heather Brown. Today, you are in for a really special treat because I have on Havilah Cunnington, and she has been in full-time ministry for over 20 years and serves as the women's pastor at Bethel Church. She and her husband, Ben, lead a nonprofit and an online platform called Truth to Table, reaching the world with Bible studies, messages, and lifestyle leadership tools. I cannot wait for you guys to listen to her voice because she has a great podcaster voice as well. She has her own podcast, and she also is the author of Stronger Than the Struggle and a half dozen other self-published Bible studies. So with all that said, Havilah, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Heather. It is an honor to be here. And yes, I think a little bit of a deep, raspy voice. We definitely have podcast voice. No,
Yes.
I can hear it in you too. It's an honor to be here. I'm so excited.
Well, I like that you have like the perfect podcaster voice because you don't have the Southern accent going on. I'm like, you got that good neutral California. It's fabulous.
Except I add a lot of like and and into my sentences where you guys can say y'all and it sounds way warmer than we say you guys.
Yes.
A lot of you guys. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, nicer.
Unfortunately, I still struggle with the ums and the likes and all that. The other day, Eric and my husband were recording the Marriage Corner, which I was telling you about this for. And he literally looked at me and goes, "We have to stop and restart because you have said like so many times." And I was like, you know what?
I know.
That's embarrassing, but thank you for the honesty.
I had a dad who was a preacher and he would tell me and he would say, you have to stop with the like, and you knows. Stop. And now I love it because you do hear a lot of likes from really prominent people, but back in the day, it was a no-go. But I do think we're more casual. So definitely the likes are happening.
True. In fact, with us being on Zoom, I have to ask you, are you wearing real pants or are you wearing leggings, yoga pants? What you got going on?
Well, I did go to the office today. I had a senior leadership meeting. So okay. I am wearing jeans, but normally pajama bottoms. But I do have my little poodle. He's a 10-pound. His name is Teddy, or his full name is Theodore Cunnington. We call him Theodorable. But he's a little 10-pound red poodle on my lap. And he is, so I'm living my best life.
I love it so much. That's awesome. Well, I am wearing leggings and I'm very excited about the more casual lifestyle leading to leggings and all the things. But all that to say, I had to have you on today because I really wanted to hear more about your new book, Created to Hear God. And so I was suckered into your Instagram before we started this podcast interview. And one of the things that I saw that you talked about was 4 ways that God speaks to us. So, and I'm like, hold up, I didn't even let you introduce yourself. Is there anything you want to share about your family? Before we deep dive?
You are my kind of girl. I could tell we could spend a lot, like we could get deep really fast.
We could.
No, you did a great introduction. I do live in Northern California. I have 4 boys, 2 teens and 2 tweens. So I have a 17, almost 16, 13 and 11-year-old boys, 4 boys. And I live with my amazing husband, Ben Cunnington, the love of my life. He is 4 years younger than I am. So I always say, if you haven't met the love of your life, maybe God wants them to be legal. Like that's just part of how
I love that.
Yeah, I'm happy. Awesome. And I have this brand new book. I do have I'm excited about this new book, but I'm mostly passionate about uncomplicating spiritual things and just things that, we overcomplicate, we over-spiritualize, we just make it so difficult for the average person. And I was a church girl, but that wasn't where I think my passion came from. It really came from when I was in 3rd grade. I was diagnosed with dyslexia, reading and comprehension issues, and then as well later on ADHD. So I had this like perfect cocktail of being completely lost. And I remember being in high school. I was in high school in LA, and I remember just sitting in the class and just gritting and bearing it. I didn't know what we were talking about. I didn't know how to get there. And I was terrified that somebody would ask me a question because I knew nothing. And I would go every single day for years and sit in these classes. I went to 3 different high schools and I just was lost. So when I gave my whole heart to Christ and began to serve him, I had this passion, and almost this injustice of, people should not be sitting in our seats in faith, whether it's online or in an actual building. There should not be secret handshakes in the church. Like, if people feel lost, then we are not doing our job well, because Jesus gave us practical, strategic strategies to live this abundant life. So now you got me preaching, but that's kind of how I got started and why I'm really passionate about it.
Oh, I love that so much, because I feel like so many women, a lot of times, especially on my Instagram, I don't know if you have this as well, but I'll get direct messages that say, I used to be in the church, but I've kind of fallen away from it. I don't really get much interaction with it. And when I do, it feels like everyone's so judgmental, and I kind of just don't even know if I really get it. And so I'm curious to hear, what would you tell women that have been out of the church for a while and maybe they do feel like what you're saying, where they're like, I'm kind of just lost and I feel ambivalent about it, but I'm too busy to really take the time in my motherhood journey to figure it out?
Yeah, such a great question, Heather. I get to travel and experience all kinds of cultures and people in the faith. And we definitely have a mass exit that is happening right now. Mm-hmm. And it happened during COVID. I think COVID gave people permission to exit, and it gave them permission to break the cycle of I'm just going through the motions. But the problem was it also displaced people. And I think a lot of people gave their affections to other things. They valued more time off. They valued their kids' sports on a Sunday. It was like, how do you fit God into a busy life? And I think that's the wrong question, right? Like, if you're saying that, to me, it's like, how do I stay married? How do I fit marriage into my life? It's like, well, you're not going to stay married for long, because if the center of our faith is God, Jesus is everything, and we put our life around him. Now, you and I are talking about a church experience, maybe, right? Like attending a church or being in a building. And I'm with you. If you're saying, I'm tired of doing that, I get that. I don't think that fatigue is dumb or, apathetic or sinful. I think there's something happening where we are looking for an authentic experience, and we want to go into rooms where people are having an authentic experience with God. And we want that to be real. So I think there's this vulnerability right now for the listeners. If you're in that place, the vulnerability is to write it off, to say, I don't believe in marriage. No, I didn't have a great marriage, but I want to fix my marriage and I want to find tools to get better at my marriage. So it's that idea with our faith. Like, my community is not a great community for my faith, but to just write off, faith altogether is such a terrible idea, because faith gives us the cornerstone of what is true and what is real and what is right and what brings peace and what brings comfort. You basically have this massive account that's available to you that you're not accessing. So I would say, don't be black and white. I would tell a listener that, stop being black and white. Stop saying I'm either in or out, or I like it or I don't. To me, it is not that clear. It really is about opening up your heart to say, I want to re-engage, but how do I do that? And then you have to take a risk. It's not going to be easy. You have to take a risk. And maybe it's a different church environment. Maybe it's a different community. Maybe it's going back and just kind of saying, you know what? I'm going to gear up for some comments of, where have you been? What's going on? But I think too, Heather, and you probably would say this as well, it starts at home. I can't eat one meal a week and then be mad that I'm hungry all week. I have to cook something, even if it's just simply mac and cheese. And so I would say that to our listeners as well. Make some mac and cheese for 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Get onto a Bible podcast, read a book that has spiritual, application and interest, and start to kind of stir yourself up before you walk into a building where there's a bunch of people that are stirred up.
Yeah, that is so good. I'm curious. So, and this is like going a little bit deeper than I even wanted to, really, but I've had a few moments throughout this short stint. I've been podcasting now. This will be my 4th season. So a little over a year and a half, where I've just thought, I'm just going to throw in the towel. Like, this was a fun experiment, but it's, I just don't know if it's going to hit the level that I want it to, or if it's not hitting my goals fast enough, or blah, blah, blah. And literally every single time, God literally makes people show up in my DMs, not just one, but 2 or 3 or 4 saying, I just stumbled upon this podcast and I had written off the church and I didn't know where to start. And so I just searched like Christian and your podcast popped up. And so to me, that is incredibly humbling. And I'm like, okay, Lord, if you send 2 or 3 people that are going to keep affirming that this is the path you have for me, I'm going to keep walking in it. But knowing that those are some of the people that will show up and listen to this podcast, what are some of your favorite devotions or even places in the Bible to tell them to start if they're like, I don't even know where I would start with that? Or even you said some auditory things. I think that'd be cool for them to hear as well.
Yeah. And I love what you're saying because I just want to go back to just a second what you said, because we have to define success. And that as people, as followers of Jesus, whatever we are. So I had to really define that. So when I started my first Bible study, I, in faith, wrote a Bible study for the women in my church, and I invited women to come, and I had 50 women show up, and it was like revival. I expected 12, and it was miraculous. But I did it because I knew there was something on my life. Just like you were saying, I knew there's something in my life. I knew I wanted to help people. And then as I began to write another full book, I realized, like, what is success? And I really had to go deep into this. Because is it New York Times bestselling? Is it that it pays my bills? Is it that, I write a book that everyone talks about? And what I had to come to grips with was success is that when I leave the earth, my kids have something that I created that tells them the story of my revelations, my life, my journey. So that's, and once I learned that my book was successful if my kid had it, that's it. So it's the same with your podcast. It's great that people come in and it is for the one. It is for the one. And you and I both believe that, or we wouldn't be doing it. But there is something about what you're doing on this podcast that your kids and your kids' kids, whether they're, biological, could be spiritual kids, they will have this part of that you took a risk, you put it together. So with that said, in my life, I love, and to answer your question, I am a visual learner. I'm not a big reader. So I look for things that help me. One of my favorites is The Bible in a Year by Father Mike Schmidt. He is, I hope I said that right. He's fantastic. It's called A Bible in a Year. He's a Catholic priest. And it came out during COVID, and it was kind of incognito. People didn't really know about it, but he reads through the Bible for the entire year, and it exploded. It was a #1 podcast for almost a year. I think he has, last I looked, it was 50,000 reviews, but It is just a phenomenal podcast because he reads the word and then he talks about a little bit and prays at the end of it. And again, he's a Catholic, so there's some Catholic parts, but very, it's mostly the word, and he's got a great spirit. And I really believe he knows God. So that's one of my favorites. I also love I love the Message version of the Bible. I'm one of those. I really enjoy the Message. So if you guys have never explored different types, I would say the Amplified is what I'm studying, but I love the Message. I love reading it. It's obviously a paraphrased version, but I really love that as well. And then I don't know if you're talking about real, I love Oswald Chambers, my highest. It's an old one, but I really enjoy that one. And I love YouVersion. I have it on my phone. I have it on my iPad. It pops up a scripture. The other day it had something about a heifer, and I'm like, oh, this scripture's for me. And I immediately start looking into things. It's like all of a sudden I wouldn't actually turn in my Bible, but because the application puts a scripture on my screen every day, it makes me go, yeah. And I just read it, and then I can click into it and read the whole chapter. Those are really simple things. I think, again, Heather, we have overcomplicated this. Yes. And one of the things in the Bible, it says to do the word. And the origin of that Greek word, do the word, means to creatively find ways to get the word in your life. So it doesn't mean go sit in a pew. It means I can listen to it. I can go for a run and listen to a message. I can listen to worship music and do singing theology. So we have to stop putting it in I got to sit in a pew for an hour and a half every week. And we have to start making it part of who we are.
Yes. Yes. Amen. That is so good. So one thing that you have all over your Instagram right now, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk to her about this. So I'm a big believer in habit stacking. Are you familiar with that term? I'm assuming yes.
I'm absolutely.
Okay.
Upset.
So in case our audience isn't familiar, how do you define habit stacking?
Well, you're going to put me on the spot. I would say
That's the point. That's the point.
I know. I would say the study of neurology, where you actually grab a small habit and you have a cue and you begin to create smaller habits that build bigger habits. And there's a whole benefit and reward around it. So now you're really catching. I mean, atomic habits is obviously one, and then tiny habits, but I love habits. So I'm with you. Tell me what it means to you, Heather. Did I answer it right?
You did amazing. But that's what I think so cool about it is, like, to me, you are going to explain it different than how I would. I'm very much so, like, in my mind, how I interpret it is little tiny steps that you're building on one after the other, instead of being like, when you get to your New Year's resolution, being like, I'm going to start running 1 mile every single day. And I'm also going to go to church 4 times a week. And I'm also going to read the Bible for an hour. It's like, no. Let's just get like the one thing down, and then you can stack your habits on it. So I love that you went more clinical and then I went more practical.
I didn't know. I mean, little bits are better, right? I guess that's what I would say. My friend Jenna says little bits are better.
I love that so much. So one of the things that you've been talking about on your Instagram is habits. And so I'm just curious, what has that journey looked like for you? And for people that aren't super familiar with habit stacking, how are you encouraging people to get into the word as a habit and build upon it? Hey mama, do you feel like you are surviving on chicken nuggets and goldfish and haven't stepped in a gym since college? Or maybe, on the other hand, you feel like you're checking every health box and are still hitting a brick wall? Well, I'm here to help you redefine what it means to be healthy from the inside out. I'm a former fitness instructor and everyday mom who is passionate about helping you create a beautiful life you freaking love. So I'm opening the doors to the Healthy by Heather Brown membership to the public, and can't wait to walk alongside you and be your cheerleader. When you join, you'll be added to my exclusive Facebook group. You'll receive my Sunday reset training that will help you create promising, sustainable, healthy choices from the inside out, which will in turn lead to a more joy-filled life for busy moms. Live coaching and workout classes with yours truly. You asked and I listened. We'll talk about how to balance your whole health when you have kids and life get busy with school and activities. It includes grocery haul ideas and accountability as we all reset together each Sunday. There will be so much offered that you won't find anywhere else on the internet. Are you ready to take one step out of stress, shame, unhealthy boundaries, and fatigue, and add healthy rhythms to the Hot Mess Express? When you're ready, I'll see you on the other side of the link in the show notes. I'm excited and ready to hold your hand and meet face to face.
Okay, so this is my journey in habits. So obviously, we all probably read Atomic Habits. It was a book that just went all over the world, and we loved it. And then I had a friend, and I actually, about 8 years ago, I started meeting with a group of girls. There's about 6 of us, and we meet every Wednesday night at one of our houses in our pajamas, and we just share about our lives, and we pray and we cry and we do all the things. And I knew, because of my lifestyle of being on a platform and being a little bit well known, I knew like I needed just a real group of girls that really didn't care and could just share my life with. Yes. So long story short, I would sit there 8 years I've done this. We sit every Wednesday night, and I had a friend named Jenna, and Jenna is somebody that is a party animal. Like, I don't know how else to say it. She's somebody that if you are her friend, you get invited. She's always planning something so fun, so energetic. She's a mom of 3. She created this business that like exploded. She had 8 employees. All this stuff is going on. And then she had this dramatic experience where she had to shut her business down because of some Facebook and marketing and all the things. It's a long story. Yeah. But she really had this crisis in her life. And I had a front row seat to her life, of her watching her go through all of this. And then I watched her start to change. She started talking about habits. And then I watched her begin to exercise every day. And then I watched her clean out her house. And then I watched her be more organized. And it was shocking. She was the friend that it was chaotic. It was crazy. It was fun, but it was not organized. And I watched her go from not even exercising to like running a marathon. And that was shocking to me. And I watched this like in metamorphosis. And so she started hosting these classes called Habit Lab. And I signed up for one. And the reason I did was I I didn't have a morning routine anymore, which sounds so dumb, but COVID threw me off. And then we moved into a house where we're renovating and I just couldn't get it together. And here's what I found, Heather. I'm sitting in this class. There's 12 of us. All of us are probably pretty successful in our own worlds, whether it's business, ministry, just even, being a mom of multiple kids and loving that. And then I found that everybody around the room said, yeah. And then my counselor or my therapist or my coach said this. And I realized that everyone in the room had this class and a counselor in their life. And I realized, my gosh, we are re-raising ourselves. Our parents did not set us up to live in this world. We didn't have media. We didn't have the messaging coming at us. We didn't have all the accessibility. And so the tools that we got into life with as adults do not work in this world. And so we're trying to figure it out by actually going, I'm going to need to have healthy habits because I'm being inundated, or I'm going to need to have a counselor because I don't know how to actually respond to the anxiety that I'm facing just simply by being online or simply by someone's opinion about my life I would have never had before. So that's what I think is happening. So in my journey, I sat through that class for 12 weeks and it changed my life, my morning routine, my exercise, all of it. And so then I started hosting Habit Labs with my community and Jenna as the leader of that. So we have a whole wing of our Truth the Table ministry called Habit Lab, and she runs that.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. I had no idea. And I think that you made such a good point too about, like you just said, COVID threw me off. So like all those rhythms that you had built up, they aren't really working anymore. So I'm curious to know now, because I'm sure people listening are going to be like, yeah, we want to know, what is your morning routine now and what's your bedtime routine?
Oh gosh, Heather. Okay. So this is not fancy. Okay, you guys, I saw somebody on Instagram the other day and she was like, I get up at 6 and I run. And I was like, I want to punch you. Like, I don't know who you are, but I want to punch you. So I would like to start with, please don't be amazed at my amazing routine, but I get up and I usually sit in a room and I do a 15-minute program, which is what Jenna kind of created, called Spare. And I sit for 3 minutes quietly. I do a breathing exercise. Then I listen to a song, a worship song, or something that connects my heart for about 5 minutes and just listen to that, let it sit there. And then I do about 5 minutes of stretching, wake my body up. And then I do about 2 minutes of planning where I look at my schedule for the day and go, what do I need to do? Where do I need to bring that? Make sure that's all done. And then lastly, I just kind of visualize where I'm going to go through the day and I set my intentions. And that's very fast, 15 minutes. And then I'm on my way. But it's just kind of a few little checkpoints that she created. But the breathing is really important. The box breathing and getting your brain cleaned out and ready to go. The idea of connecting with God. I always made it this big thing. And again, I love God. So I work for him, right? That's what I do. Like I'm obsessed with God, but I found that I just made it way too intense. And so just sitting and listening to a song for 3 minutes with and sometimes I'll read the words of the song, Apple Music, and I don't know what else, but you can on your phone read what they're singing. And so you can just read it. And so you're watching the wording, you're letting it hit your heart for a few minutes. And then you're able to just, I don't know, something about that uncomplicated it for me. And the goal, at least for Jenna, that she's taught me is you're not allowed to go over that time period. So you start with a 15-minute cycle and you may not make it 10 minutes of worship and 30 minutes of reading. Nope. It is 15 minutes. You have 3 minutes of breathing. You have 5 minutes of sitting. Like, she has a whole schedule, but that has been really good, is not allowing myself to go past it, just to do that until for a long period of time. And then at night, it's chaotic. I have 2 teenage boys, two tweens, and they have friends, and it is chaos. And I try to get in bed before midnight, and I hate it.
Well,
I want to go to bed at 8:30. I love getting up in the morning, but right now, before when you had littles, you go to bed early so that you can keep people alive in the morning. And now that you have teens, you stay up late at night to keep people alive. And so it's kind of that of the parent.
Yeah. So, well, I definitely hear that. Yes. Well, I'm actually a night owl. And so my husband and I joke because he's a morning person. So when we were in the early phase of babies, he would take the early morning shifts of feedings or whatever once they weren't literally just on my boob. God bless him. Anyway, but then once we got past that, it was like, and then I take the night shift. So it really is so cool to me too, how normally couples, I'm curious if your husband and you are this way, are a morning and a night. Are y'all that
I
way?
was a morning. So I was the girl that would get up with the babies and Ben would stay up late. And I am so mad because he is not a night owl anymore. And I literally said to him, I married you so you would stay up late with our children. And we're both passed out in our bed. And we'll lay down and watch something on TV or read. And he'll set his alarm to wake himself up to put the boys to bed.
Oh, wow.
So Heather, I hope you stay strong in your night owlism. I hope you.
Me too. I do hear that it comes in handy in those teen years. That's for sure. Well, okay. Havilah, tell me this, because I feel like we're quickly running out of time and I want to be respectful of your time as well. But if you could, I guess, maybe tell us what a general, I ask every guest this, and so I'm curious to hear your answer. If you could do one thing that you do to reset each week, and you may say that it's not each week, it's just this morning thing for you, which is incredible. I'm totally looking that up and like gonna pound you with all the questions and DMs afterwards. But tell me, what is one thing you do to reset each week?
If I can, I do a pajama day. I don't get it. I don't do my makeup. I don't get up. I don't mind running around town casual, but I tend to just not get fully ready. I just like to be home in my pajamas or in my loungewear, not put on makeup, not get ready, not just be. And if I can have a full Sabbath where I just am home, I really enjoy it. Now with sports right now, it's kind of complicated to do that, but I really enjoy that. And if I can't do that, we have a little jacuzzi outside. And if I can sit in a jacuzzi for an hour or, with a cup of coffee in the morning or at night, something about the spa is really good, except that now that we have teenage boys, I have to ask my husband who's been in it and when has it been clean last. Because I don't want to go in after 8 teenage boys. So there's a lot of emptying and refilling that's happening in our house. But yeah, what about you? What do you like to do?
Well, I'm a big, I call it my Sunday reset. And so it's basically, it sounds like kind of what you're doing in your 15 minutes each day, but I'm almost like planning for the week. And so the Sunday reset for me is talking with my husband. We have this like meeting and it may only be 5 or 10 minutes, but it's just being like, do I have everything on your schedule, on my schedule? Is everything on my schedule, on your schedule? The kids, what are we eating this week? Kind of just like getting a lay of the land and being on the same page. Yes. And then for me, that's like my personal, like, let me go zen out. We have a hot tub. So I'll either get in the hot tub or I'll do a bath. That's like, I'm listening to a podcast I love or worship music or something that just helps me physically reset my mind and body.
I totally agree. We have our weekly meeting as well. I'm with you. That little catch up of like, what are we going to eat? And then we try to have a budget bonanza, which is one of my friends named it because her husband hated to talk about the budgets. So they called it a budget bonanza. And it's a quick check-in about finances for the week. So we do try to do that as well.
I love that. Now, how long have you and your husband been married?
18 years.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you guys?
We've been married 15 years, actually. It'll be 16 years in September. So we're close.
We're right in that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I always say I've been happily married for 18. I'm sorry. I've been married for 18 and happily married for 15.
Yeah. You do have to kind of like get into it though a little bit. That first year's hard. It's hard.
I always said God said the two should become one. And I thought it was going to be me. I'm very disappointed that it's not me.
You're like, just a little more to my side.
Yeah, I feel like I got it. That's right.
That's hilarious. Well, what is I'm like, this is totally off script. I'm just curious now.
I love it.
Best piece of marriage advice.
That's a great question. Best piece of marriage advice.
You can marinate for a moment. It's okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, I definitely think counseling is helpful. So I do want to say that like everyone does pre-marriage counseling and they think that's it. And I'm like, no, actually you need like post-marriage. And it's not because of crisis. Like we always think counseling is crisis, but for me, I call it coaching. Like our marriage needs to be coached. I need to learn how to be in this relationship. So we have had separate, we've done personal. It's something about having a neutral third party, a neutral third party. I don't know why it keeps things respectful. It keeps things moving forward. It shows us where we're stuck. And it's just, to me, I can't say enough about it. I think in the world that we live in, with the issues that we have, with the computers that have access to all kinds of crap, you just have to have you have to have somewhere where you can go and say, all right, are we okay? Yeah. So I would say that. And then one thing we do, which again, we've done it all different ways. I do think vacations are really important. I think playing together is really important. And I don't care if you are, when we were broke, we would just go camping or we would find a friend that was willing to like let us use their house. But going away, something about getting out of the mundane, even if it's just for a weekend, but it just something about that, it re-engages. And I'm an advocate for that. And we go away every December. We used to go away in January. Like Ben and I would take 3 days and go do our yearly planning trip.
Oh, yeah.
But we were so tired and we were so broke by January. We were like, let's do this before Christmas. So now we do it 2 weeks before Christmas. We go away for a couple days and plan it out and reconnect and get our game plan for the holidays. And that's been really, really, it's one of my favorite things we've ever done.
That's amazing. So do you almost go into it with like we need to discuss these things, or what is your planning meeting?
I go in planning for the year, and my husband thinks it's a sex fest. So I really have to you know what I mean? Like,
classic.
That's where he's thinking like, it's going to be just like days and days of us being, I'm like, okay, here's where we're going. Like, yes, we will have fun. But I personally like to just reconnect. It doesn't matter if it's like as strategic as I've hoped. Like sometimes I go in and I'm like, I have the yearly calendar I brought Post-it notes and markers and like, let's get into it. Other times I bring my painting supplies and I'm like, I'm just not there this year. I would love to go there this year. So it just depends. When I'm writing a book, it's like everything just goes out the window. I just want to do creative things because it helps. And it's better for me and my mental health. But yeah, I neither him or I are super planners. I would say we're highly responsible, but we're not super planners. Does that make sense? Like we're not the spreadsheet kind of people.
Yes.
But we have people in our lives that help us do that. We do have people that work for us that help us do that. But I will say, I don't know if you've done the enneagram at all. I don't know if you're an enneagram.
I'm a
person.
3. What are you?
Oh, I'm a 7. So that kind of gives you, so I'm a 7. I probably have a lot of 3. And to be honest, Heather, just between us, everyone who's listening, I think I probably am more 3 than 7. But I'm coming to that conclusion years later. Like years later, I'm going, I think I got more 3 than I thought.
Yeah.
But my husband is a 1 and he is super structured in that way. So when I get him into a vacation, he becomes a 7. A 1 becomes a 7, which is really how I think he tricked me into marrying him because I thought he was really fun and low key and like laid back. And then we got married. I was like, you're like my dad. Like you're like,
where did this come from?
Yeah. If the Holy Spirit left, I would never know. Like you're monitoring everything I do and say, you know, even if I don't say it, you're like, don't say it. I'm like, I didn't say it. So that was definitely part of it. And we had some really hard years. The beginning, I was 27. He was 23. We got pregnant 3 months in. We got pregnant 9 months in. We had 4 kids in 5 years.
Dang.
And it was brutal. It was brutal. Yeah. And I remember calling my dad at one point and saying, I cannot do this. Like it was the first year of marriage. I'm not doing this. I can't do this. I want to come home. And he gently said, you are home.
Yeah.
You are home. And it wasn't, you know, obviously if I had been being abused or anything that was critical, of course.
Right.
But he was just saying, welcome to your normal. Like you made this choice. So I'll tell you what, it's another segment, another day, but that's why I ended up going. I had postpartum depression 3 times with each of my boys and ended up going into counseling. Yes, went to counseling and sat with a woman for a year and a half with 8 women that were completely anonymous. We weren't allowed to know each other's last names. We all lived big lives in the city, but I still don't know who they are to this day. I still don't know. This is almost 15 years ago. Wow. And I sat for a year and a half and learned what boundaries were and how to get rid of the good girl syndrome and the good and bad thinking, black and white thinking. And I wrote a book called I Do Boundaries, which is my best-selling, really, at this point, my I Do Hard Things book and my I Do Boundaries are my best. And those really came out of those seasons. So so I would say we had hard years. We did a lot of work, and the counseling that we did early on has paid off. And I'm having the best years of my marriage now. Best years, better. But I'm glad that he's alive.
Well,
there were some days where I thought, you know, I'm Italian. We can bury bodies. What do I need to do?
Oh, gosh. Well, I relate to you on so many things you just said. I had postpartum depression with my first one. And I also didn't know if I was a 7 or a 3 in the beginning. So I'm like, we literally could talk for another hour. But, you know.
What is your husband? What is your husband?
He's a 5 on the Enneagram.
Oh, that's a good one. 5 would be good. Yeah, well,
I'm like, it is.
It is. But a 5 is that researcher and that information junkie, but they are interesting, you know, and he's probably not monitoring your behavior. So I don't know.
No. Well, in the beginning of our marriage, I'll never forget. I came home. This was like week 3 of our marriage. And he goes, hey, what'd you buy at Walgreens today for $15.49? And I was like, are you serious?
That drives me crazy. Exactly. My husband will go, hey, I know you bought that. I go, how? He goes, because I get your Amazon notifications. I'm like, I love you, but take those notifications off your phone. Like, it's none of your business when I'm buying on Amazon right now. Something about it just feels like, no one should know when I'm buying.
Yes.
Just,
Yes. Especially within minutes. It's so weird. Anyway.
By the minute. Exactly, Heather.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, Havilah, tell everybody where they can find you online, where they can get your books, all the things before we head out.
Sure. Okay. So HavilahCunnington.com is where you can find me. And I do have a brand new book. It's called Created to Hear God. And it's about 4 unique and proven ways to confidently discern his voice. And here's the cool part. Have you heard of the 5 love languages? This is like the 5 love languages for hearing God. So we have a test you can take and you can find out if you are one of 4: knower, seer, feeler, or hearer. And your knower is where God speaks to you intuitively, like a light bulb. He speaks to you with wisdom, clarity, discernment. That's how he speaks to you. If you're a hearer, God speaks to you through words, phrases, narrations, interactions. Usually you're journalers. You're somebody that really hears God with words. If you are a seer, God speaks to you through like the eyes. So you see pictures, visions, dreams, daydreams. You have even little colors or things that God speaks to you, just very visual, and God speaks to you. And you're a huge dreamer. You're a huge dreamer. When God shows you something, you have faith for it. And sometimes it takes you a lifetime to figure out. And then lastly, you have your feelers. And your feelers are those that God interacts with through an emotional, whether it's a burden, it's a sensing, it's a partnership with him, but you have a physical experience, an internal reaction in your heart, and God speaks to you that way. You're usually an intercessor. You can go into an environment and feel if it's good or feel if it's bad. You just get a sense about that. And all of those are unique ways in which God speaks to you, but you can be bilingual. You'll probably have all 4 happening in your life at some point. But the book is really about showing you what is your primary and then also how to develop that, but also to see that God speaks diversely through people. So instead of saying, oh, God only speaks through words, no, he doesn't. Or you should just know the truth. Well, you're a knower. So that makes sense to you, but doesn't make sense for the feeler. We took 150,000 people took our prophetic personality test, and we call it prophetic personality. Prophetic is how God speaks to you. Personality is how you speak to the world. So prophetic personality is that. And we found out that 70% of everyone who took the test were feelers. So there's a massive group of people in our faith communities that are feelers that do not feel connected. So even back to the story that we had in the beginning, you may be a feeler that had no place for you in your faith environment. And so you can feel like you need medication, you need counseling, you feel like something's wrong. And what we want to do is actually understand that God is speaking to you. So you have to ask questions like, did I walk in the room with this? What is happening? Why do I feel this? And get curious that God's partnering with you. So that's a whole nother conversation, but Created to Hear God is out there today. It's on Audible. You can listen to it. Obviously, I get to read it for the first time, which I'm excited. Yay! And really discover, again, God is unique. And we've been asking the question, and I asked this question for years, what is God saying? We all ask that question, but that's the wrong first question. The first question should be, how was I designed to hear God? That is the question we should be asking. And we're stuck asking, what are you saying? And if you're in different environments, like let's say you go to a charismatic, crazy work environment, then they're going to love feelers and they're going to love seers because that's elevated. If you go to a conservative environment or maybe an environment that just goes, we just want to be word people, then you might see that knowers are elevated because knowing the truth, and that's all they need and they're happy. And so a lot of times our environments are elevating different types rather than understanding there's a diversity within our communities. And so I'm a part of a pretty charismatic world and I'm a knower. And so I felt like a heathen for many, many years because I didn't feel anything. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. I just knew. And so that's what I want to do is help people not feel so uncomfortable in environments, but to see that they have value, whether they're represented or not.
Wow, that's really powerful. Well, you're making me excited to read your book. So thanks for sharing that with us. And I'm immediately going to go have to take the test. So that's happening.
Yes, I love it. And I'm so excited. Again, the goal is I think everyone deserves to hear God's voice. Everyone. And I think we've taught wrong when we've elevated it to only a few. And I think that that's wrong. Why would I only communicate with one of my kids? I wouldn't. I communicate to all my kids. And so I think everybody gets to hear God's voice. And if you're not, you probably just don't know your prophetic personality type. And so let's figure that out and let's get you going on that because you shouldn't spend another year wondering what God thinks or what he wants. you should spend another year knowing what he wants to say to you so you can feel connected and get going in your big, amazing, wonderful life.
Yes. Amen. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing all that wisdom.
Heather, you're amazing. I could have spent another hour with you. This is such a great podcast, and I look forward to being on here again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining me and Havilah today. If you took something away from this podcast episode, please screenshot it, share it to your stories, tag us both. We would love to see it. And if you take her quiz, let us know what your prophetic, I guess, listening to God. I'm butchering how she said that, but what
yep.
Thank you.
Your personality is.
Are. Yes. Okay. Well, y'all have a great day. We'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Welcome to today's game show with your host, Eric Brown.
Thank you very much. I did love watching some game shows as a kid growing up. They were the best, especially when you were sick. I know the classic one is obviously Price is Right was always on when you were sick. Jeopardy. Oh man, there was one classic one from even before I was born called Card Sharks. I loved it. It was great.
Literally never seen it.
Yeah, that. What was another one? It was basically like the one where it said, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. Oh, that was Press Your Luck. That was a great one as well, too.
I also didn't know that one.
Those are great. But once again, that's a good segue into our topic for today in the Marriage Corner. And one of the things that we've been doing a lot with the boys is they've been loving playing board games with us, and they got some new board games over Christmas. And we've loved playing a game called Mancala or Mancala. I'm not sure how you say it, but I remember playing that as a kid, and Leighton loves playing that.
And this is actually really sweet. Eric took Leighton and Finn to go Christmas shopping for each other and to get me a gift. And so Mancala was the gift that Leighton and Finn gave me for Christmas.
Yep. So we've been playing that as a family, which has been great. The kids always love Uno as well, too. Been playing a lot of Uno, and there's been a bunch of other games.
Unfortunately, we've also been playing a lot of Uno Flip. Some friend blessed us with that horrid game. Uno Flip is for the birds.
It is so much different than Uno. It takes so much longer. And I think we're going to get back into Uno later on in this conversation. But the question I had for you, I want you to list your top 3 games in a board game type fashion, or it could be a card game that you played kind of growing up. It could be early years, it could be adolescent years, and I want you to list your top 3, maybe any honorable mentions that you have as well too.
Awesome. So I would say, I don't know that I played this a ton, but I just remember as a kid wanting it for so long after watching the commercials and how fun they made it look. Mousetrap. To me, that is quintessential, our childhood game that they advertised to us in the mid, I guess, 80s, I guess it'd be early 90s by the time I was old enough to know. So did y'all ever play that?
We did. And I don't know, I've got to disagree with this first choice pretty vehemently. You were always missing pieces. It was always incredibly difficult to set up, and then when you did set it up, it never worked correctly. Like, I remember the commercial on television was great. It looked like so much fun. The kids are having a great time. There's a cartoon mouse running around. Oh, here comes the net. It falls on them, and then you get it, and there's 100 pieces, and it never worked.
It did never work. You are correct in that. But man, I do just feel like that was quintessential childhood game, though.
Oh, for sure, it was quintessential. But
ooh, and Hungry Hippos. That's an honorable mention for me. That was fun.
Yeah, that was at Grandma Joe's house growing up, and it can get pretty intense as well too.
No doubt.
All right, so number 3 was
Mousetrap.
What's your second favorite game growing up?
Number 2 is a 2-way tie between Old Maid and Go Fish, which I know are probably a little bit of old people games, but me and Holly had to entertain ourselves a lot because we weren't allowed to watch as much TV as you guys were growing up. So we played so much Old Maid and Go Fish.
1, my list is going to blow your list out of the water. And 2, I actually venture to say that my brother and sister and my friends, I venture to say we played more card games and games than you and Holly did.
Well, that could be true. Your family was very heavy into the games. My parents would not play games with us. It was maybe once a year they'd play games with us.
Yeah, Kurt and Sue would play a good amount, but also, too, I think there's just the general competition being a triplet. You know, if you could find any way to have some kind of competition, usually it was me and my brother, and I'll get into my list, but sometimes we would team up and use our forces together for a common good.
Or for evil.
It depends on how you look at it. But okay, so number 2 was for you.
Oh, Old Maid
Old
and
Maid.
Go
Yeah,
Fish.
It's such a forgettable game. That's why I couldn't remember.
Okay. And then number 1, gosh, I did like Uno, but we didn't play that much growing up. So I'm going to go with Twister. I loved Twister.
Wow, I did not think you were going to go with Twister. Fun game as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid. That's the point. That's what we're doing.
Fun game as an adult.
Is it?
I mean, it could be.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just saying. Maybe
You're making it weird.
Maybe I'll have to bring Twister back. But yeah. All right. So I agree with your number 1 choice. Twister's a pretty good game.
Yes, thank you. Did you have that on your list?
I did not.
All right. What you got?
I don't think I had any of your same ones on my list, but I've got a couple honorable mentions to begin with. So, and I think this is nostalgia for me, but always going over to my grandparents' house, Grandma Joe and Grandpa Sam. I remember they had a bingo turner, and we would always play, the 3 of us, my brother and sister and me, my grandmother and grandpa. They would, turn the bingo wheel and the numbers would come out, and they would have bingo cards, and that was always a ton of fun growing up. And then also my grandpa Sam taught us how to play blackjack. And so he would always get a bunch of pennies out, and he would always be the house. He always taught us the house always won. But it was always really
valuable life lesson.
Yeah, it was always really fun. You had a bunch of pennies. You maybe, typically you ended up losing a couple pennies. You would always walk away with $1 from Grandpa Sam. But I got to give Grandma Joe and Grandpa Sam a shout out for bingo and blackjack. But my number 3 game has to be, I'm going to go with a Midwest game, and a lot of people may not know this game, but we played this a ton, and this was the game I was alluding to earlier, but the game Euchre. So a lot of people may not know this, but it's a game where you have...
It's a game where you milk it.
You have 2 teams of 2, and yes, your object is to get 10 points, and if you get to 9, the phrase, being from the Midwest, is you're in the barn. You got to get 1 more point. So if you can imagine, once you're in the barn, you got to milk it. So what you do is you put your hands together, kind of in a mesh, and you turn them upside down so your thumbs almost look like udders, and then your partner begins to milk your thumbs.
And yes, I did just milk Eric's thumbs in these chairs.
It's a classic move. It always rubs the other team the wrong way. No pun. But anyways, Euchre is always great. And like I said before, my brother and I, we would always team up. And my grandfather always told us, he taught us how to play Euchre as well too. He said, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Which
Very
not
questionable
the best life lesson. But my brother and I would say we would bend the rules a little bit. And actually there was, I think school's different now, especially high school, but there was a ton of times where when my brother and I had free time in high school, whether it was during gym or during classes, and study hall, we would go out in the hallways and just play kids in Euchre. And I'll never forget this one time. One kid got so pissed that we kept winning, and he couldn't figure it out. And then he finally figured out that maybe we were taking some liberties with the rules. We also had little signs, but anyways, Euchre was my number 3. Number 2 is a Brown family classic. I think a lot of people like it as well too, but the game Sequence.
I do love the game Sequence, but I had never played it until I married or was dating and with your family.
Now, you can play Sequence as singles, but it's definitely more fun with teams. And I would say the best way is with 2 teams of 2. My family always had a phrase, 5 in a row, twice, and you win. That's basically the rules of the game.
Wait, that's the slogan. That's
no,
like
it's not.
The jingle.
No, it's not the jingle. That was a made-up jingle.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
I thought this whole time y'all were singing the song.
5 in a row, twice, and you win. I mean, that is the whole purpose of the game. You get 2 sequences, which is 5 in a row. If you get 2 of those, you win. But Sequence is always a fun game. And number 1, I gotta say, it's Uno. I love playing Uno as a kid. We played it a ton with our cousins up at the lake, my grandmother's little lake cottage up in Indiana. And I still love it today because our kids love to play it. It's simple. It's fun. And I'm talking classic Uno. It doesn't last very long. Everyone has their own house rules when it comes to Uno. And it's a great classic game.
Agree. I love Uno. Did I put that on my list? I don't know if I did. Honorable mention, maybe. Okay. Yeah. So definitely agree on Uno. Eric, any last minute games that you love now as an adult you think that you... Oh, Bang.
I was going to mention Bang. That was a classic game in high school. And just real quick synopsis. I think a lot of people do like it. We also like Settlers of Catan as well, too. But Bang, basically you take different roles. There's a sheriff, a vice sheriff, a renegade. But basically there's different rules and it always gets kind of fun. You have to bang people and basically you shoot them and they lose a life. And it's the last person standing. You don't know who the sheriff is. You don't know who the renegade is, who the outlaws are. It's actually a really good game, and I recommend it.
Yeah, super fun. Okay, well, we loved chatting with you guys through some of our favorite games growing up, and we hope that you guys will maybe try a new game after listening to this conversation or get back out some old classics with your favorites.
Yeah, like Twister.
Was there Twist and Shout? Was that on there or no?
No, that's just a song. But
okay. Well, okay. Maybe that should have been their song on their commercials. Anyway.
Could have worked.
All right. Well, y'all have a beautiful day. And don't forget to leave us a rating and review down below. We can't wait to read those. They always entertain us. Y'all have an awesome day, and we'll see you next time.